Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. How are you doing today? Hope you are having a great day. Ready for some new drama from Askalawyer? Let's go to the first one, about OP's mother, who demands OP covers her stepsister's tuition with her dad's inheritance. Listen to the story to find out what OP's reaction was, and of course to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. My 17 female. Dad died when I was 3 and left me a substantial amount of money. My grandparents are going to pay my college tuition. My mom remarried when I was 6, and I have a stepsister, Maddie, 17 female. My stepdad and mom haven't saved much for Maddie, and her college fund will barely cover 2 years of tuition, less if she goes to her dream school. A little while after they got married, when I was 6 or 7, I promised that I would love my stepsister like a real sister and help her however I could. A few days ago, we were talking about college, and my mom told me that she wants me to pay for part of Maddie's tuition with my inheritance. I told her that I'm definitely not doing that. I have that money because my father died. Maddie was not related to him at all. She has no right to use his money. My mom and Maddie are really mad since then, because apparently they were counting on me to help her out because my grandparents are paying my college tuitions, and I promised to always help her. Yesterday, Maddie talked to her counselor, who told her that she should rethink the colleges she wants to apply to because she would have to take out large loans to pay for her dream school. Her counselor told her she should go to community college first to save money. Maddie started crying when she got home and said that her life is ruined and she has to go to community college. I'm pretty sure she didn't say she has to go to community college. She probably just suggested it, and Maddie thinks she has no other choice. Maddie says it's not fair that I can go wherever I want, and she's going to have to go to community college, and she's tired of always being second to me. I told her that I don't owe her anything. If she wants to go to an expensive school, then she can take out loans, and it's her own fault that she's always been second to me. She was crying in her room for like hours after that, and she still won't talk to me. Am I the a-hole? I personally have no sympathy for Maddie, but I feel sorry for OP because it's OP who doesn't have a dad. Money can be earned, loans can be paid off, but OP will never have her father back. So there's nothing unfair for Maddie as she still has her father. She should class herself as very lucky and stop complaining. OP's dad wanted OP to have that money. It's Maddie's parents' responsibility to save for her college, and their failure to do so, not OP's. And now let's hear if the community agrees with me. Cookies 2 says, not the a-hole, honestly. Next time she says it's not fair, just reply with, it's not fair my dad died when I was a toddler and didn't have him my whole life, but here we are. Your mom is insane depending on her minor daughter to pay for her stepdaughter's university for 4 years. You wouldn't have this money if your dad hadn't passed, and I'm pretty sure you would rather have your dad around. OK Register 3005 says, not the a-hole. Do not give her money. Your dad died. She doesn't deserve even a penny. Mina Choi 1999 says, I have sympathy for Maddie, and she is right, the world is unfair. Her not going to her dream school due to money issues is unfair. You losing your dad so young was unfair. But she and her parents need to figure out a way to support her, any way they can. And your mom shouldn't be relying on you, her minor daughter, to pay for her stepsister's tuition. That money is yours, and you decide how to spend it. In fact, if you're saving it due to not having to pay for your college tuition, then that money will be so useful in the future. Also, you promising to support and look after your stepsister doesn't mean you can't draw boundaries. So, not the a-hole. I'm a 36-year-old woman who owns and runs an equestrian facility that offers riding lessons. My sister-in-law, 34 female, recently hit me up telling me my nieces, 12 female and 9 female, were interested in horses and riding and asked me if I could get them some lessons to help them learn. I was more than happy to arrange this and told her that of course they could come by for lessons, and I'd even waive the fee if before lessons they'd help me muck out the stables in exchange. She clearly wasn't expecting this, and she asked me what I meant and why they would have to help clean out filthy stables, to quote her. I told her that since we were family I wouldn't charge them money, but they had to do something in exchange. And helping to tend the stables is a good way to teach respect and understanding for the horses too, which is vital for the lessons. She told me I shouldn't be charging them money regardless, as they're my nieces, and it's horrible I'd expect them to do any kind of work in exchange. I pointed out how my own sons, 16 male, 16 male, and 11 male, had all done exactly the same work for their lessons, and it hadn't harmed them in the slightest. My sister-in-law is of the opinion that's because they're boys, so obviously they could put up with more. She has told me that they shouldn't have to do anything for the lessons, and I'm a horrible aunt to even suggest it, and how upset they'd be. I admit that comment upset me a bit, and is why I'm here in the first place. Lessons at my place can be a bit pricey, especially if they become regulars, so I thought this was a good option for them. Is it wrong of me to expect them to do a little manual labor in exchange? OP runs a business, and she's trying to take advantage of OP. That is OP's livelihood. That's a lot of OP's hard-earned time that they want for free. OP should not feel bad about it either. It's disrespectful of OP's hard work that she would expect that. And now let's hear the community's opinion. California Jade says, I had friends that would clean stables just to be around horses. Your sister-in-law seems rather entitled. Too bad. Her daughters are missing out on a wonderful opportunity. You offered a really great deal. Their loss, not the a-hole. Cold IQ says, your nieces aren't interested in riding. Your sister is interested in free extracurriculars and childcare. That's why she's doubling down. Because if she presents it to them as, you can ride horses, but you'll have to clean up beforehand, she knows they won't want to do it. Not the a-hole. Fickle Willow 4836 says, not the a-hole. No, you are not a horrible aunt. Your sister-in-law is a horrible family member for thinking you shouldn't be paid for your services. I know it's not about the money, because you were willing to exchange your services for help around the stables. However, you and everyone else deserves to be paid for the work they do. Small backstory. When I, 38 female, was 16, my mother threw me out of the house for getting pregnant. I was homeless for almost a month before my dad could get custody of me, as she refused to let me live with him because she wanted to teach me a lesson. My dad got custody of me and I had my baby and gave her up for adoption because I knew that I could not give her a good life. I haven't spoken to my mother since, nor do I ever plan to speak to her again. Fast forward to now. My 41 male husband and I have 2 sons, 17 and 14. For the last month or so, anytime my husband gets mad at my oldest son, he threatens to throw him out of the house. My husband knows about what happened to me when I was a teenager, and I've told him repeatedly that he should never tell our children that he is going to throw them out of the house. I explained that I've been homeless, and it is terrifying, and told him that if he ever attempted to throw out either of our children from our house, that he would be the one leaving, and that it is grounds for divorce on my end. The other day, my oldest son forgot to turn in a school assignment, and we got an email from his teacher. My husband and son got into an argument, and he again threatened to throw him out. I intervened and told my husband he was doing no such thing. I told my son that he needed to finish his assignment and see if his teacher would accept it. I then told my husband that I was done listening to him tell our son that he was going to throw him out of our house. So, to teach my husband a lesson, I took yesterday off and went to Lowe's while he was at work and changed all the locks. When he came home, all the doors were locked and he couldn't open them. He called me and asked what was going on. I told him that since he wants to make our son homeless so bad, I wanted him to know how it felt to be the homeless one. I told him that he was not welcome back in our house until he apologizes to our son and starts treating him with respect. My husband has never made these threats before. He has always been strict, but never to this extent. He would take away privileges or weekends out with friends. But as soon as my son turned 17, it was like a switch flipped. My husband claims he is trying to turn him into a man, but I told him he was just being an aggressive a-hole. Now he is refusing to speak to me until I apologize, but I refuse. So, am I the a-hole for changing the locks to teach him a lesson? There must have been a better way to handle the issue like adults. Locking your husband out is wrong. Threatening to and/or locking your kid out of the house is wrong. Who threatens to kick their kid out of the house for not doing homework? It is like he just quit being a parent altogether and now has to assert dominance or something. Whatever it is, maybe he should stop trying to make him a man and just make him a good person. Grim Dreg says, not the a-hole. Your husband is being an aggressive a-hole, and he continued to do the one thing you asked him not to. If he has so little respect for you and your sons, he doesn't deserve an apology or to be in the house. My husband claims he is trying to turn him into a man. This is some toxic masculinity nonsense, and another clear sign he is in the wrong. Lizard Bush says, not the a-hole. 17 is still a child, and that's a massive overreaction for missing an assignment. Time and Entropy says, not the a-hole. This is highly unlikely to teach your husband anything. It is the right thing to do to protect your child from this threat. It is aggressive, it is outrageous, and unreasonable. Threatening to throw a kid out of the house over not turning in an assignment is a vast overreaction and not going to do a dang thing to turn a child into an adult. teaching your son strategies to remember, to be organized, to complete things in a timely manner. That is parenting. Jumping straight to threats is not parenting and does nothing to help a kid grow and develop. So there's probably a lot of background I can give, but I want to get straight to the point to make sure I'm not giving any details that might make someone make a biased opinion. I'm 25. My brother is almost 30. He has a daughter who just recently turned 1 year old last week, and I've not yet gotten her gift. But I was sitting and thinking about it and going over my finances. I came up with the idea that it would be best for me to gift her some sort of stock for her birthday, or money in an account that would be able to grow as she got older. I have no children and have 8 nieces and nephews. I am the cool, childless aunt who likes to travel. I don't have much to offer, but $20 a month will go a long way in 18 years. I went to set up the account, and then I realized I needed her social to be able to make her the beneficiary on my account. I mentioned this to her mother, who said she doesn't know and she would have to ask her husband, my brother. My brother is very much a numbers and budget guy. The first thing he asked was if he'd have access to the account. I had a feeling that he was going to ask this, but I was just hoping he wouldn't. I explained to him that no, he would not have access to the account because it was my account until the baby was old enough to claim it. He then told me he needed to see what was going in and out of the account and how it was growing. So I told him I just didn't understand why it was his business. If I give her 10 cents or $10,000, it's my money to give her as a gift. He just kept reiterating that it's his daughter, and if he can't have access to it, then he doesn't want it. I have nothing to hide, but to me it's just the principle, and I'm just trying to do something to help her in the future. For example, I am the beneficiary on all of my father's accounts, stocks, 401k, etc. But it doesn't give me the right to have access to them now. I just need to know if I'm overreacting and being an a-hole about the situation, or if I should just open it and give him access. Edit. I don't think he'd steal from her. I think he just wants access to see what's going on with it. But I do think that if, for example, I had $3K in there and took out $1K to invest in other ways for her, he would question me as to why I'm stealing from his daughter or what's going on with the account. Even though at the end of the day, it's my account and money to manage. I would just hate to be questioned what I decide to do with my money. Sonorous Drum M3R says, not the a-hole. He would probably use the money on the account. I think that's why he asked the permission. Cynthia12 says, not the a-hole. My mother-in-law made a college account for my son 2 years ago and adds to it regularly, but I'm not on it because it's not mine. Trossi says, not the a-hole. If either of my sisters asked to do this for my daughter, I would give them the info with no hesitations. And I'd honestly just assume I'd have no access to it because it's her gift to grow over years, not mine. How much is going in or out would be between you guys, and unless you're gifting it to her with stipulations, must graduate, must be 18, must use it for college, blah blah, it shouldn't really matter to him. Be careful, because they may want to know as a way to use it as leverage against her. Not trying to sound only negative, but it's odd that he doesn't want someone investing in his child's future unless he has control over it. I, 38 female, no longer feel willing to live with my 14 female daughter, Abby, and might send her to boarding school. I'm at my wit's end. Around 11 or 12, Abby really changed and seems like she genuinely hates me. I don't know how else to put it, and I have no idea what might have caused it. No matter what we try, Abby is relentlessly unkind to me when we're in the house together. At first, it was immature kid stuff, like telling me I was ugly or fat and smelly. As she got older, this behavior got worse and more sophisticated. She makes specific comments about my flaws every day now, like, "You can see your cellulite through those pants, Mom." She'll tell me I'm getting older, and I should be worried her dad will leave me for a younger woman. She'll also play pranks, replacing my expensive moisturizer with expired milk, hiding or destroying my clothes, and she once even crawled up behind me while I was working from home on a video call and cut off the bottom of my ponytail. She has hidden and damaged my work materials more than once. She doesn't behave like this towards her dad or brother. I feel like I should be strong enough to not care, but this behavior has really impacted my life. I feel incredibly self-conscious of my appearance, and it's hard to get dressed in the morning. I'm less confident at work and around our friends. I find myself dreading being in my own house if Abby is going to be there, staying longer at work, going to the gym after work, and asking my husband to cook, going right to our room when I get home to avoid her. I feel guilty and embarrassed about avoiding my family. I feel like we've tried everything, talking to her to ask why. She just says it was a joke or prank. And don't you want to know if you look bad? Consequences. She only has a flip phone now. Tons of therapy for us and her. Getting angry. We have yelled at her a handful of times, but apologized for yelling. Talking to her school, in case she was getting picked on or picking on others. Encouraging her to talk to other trusted adults, because my worst fear is that something horrible happened to her to cause this change. I could write so much more, but character limits. Last weekend, we had an incident at the beach, and I realized I just can't live like this anymore. It's been 3 years, and I can't do another 4 years until she moves out. I told my husband I wanted to move out for a while, so my husband, son, daughter could stay in our house. I could get a studio apartment in our city, or go stay with my parents about an hour away. He said he loves me and doesn't want to live without me for 4 years, though I said I'd move back if things got better. He wants to send our daughter to boarding school and have peace in our house. I feel bad at the idea that she might feel rejected or unwelcome at home, but I'm seriously considering it. Would I be the a-hole if I left my family or sent my daughter to boarding school? Sorry this is so long, but thank you for your judgment. Bean Fiddler says, not the a-hole. If you're being genuine that you've tried everything, punishment, family therapy, separate therapy, investigating school environments, psychiatric and psychological evaluations, etc., then it sounds like you're in over your head and can no longer adequately be the parent she needs. Abby's not going to get the help she needs if you have a mental break, and your husband and son are now responsible for both your care and Abby. If you make the decision for boarding school, consult with a therapist on how to break the news to her, and then keep abreast of her progress so that you can alter her schooling and living situation if and when she or yourself improve, so it's less a punishment and more a thing that needs to be done for mental health reasons. Big Blue Hood says, not the a-hole. Sounds like you really tried everything. Your daughter's behavior is very much not normal. But if you took her to various psychiatrists and none of them prescribed anything helpful, there's not much else you can do. Maybe try visiting one more while looking into other options, boarding schools, etc. It looks like she is stuck in the wanna marry my dad period with teenagers' brains and hormones. So your husband can probably influence her more than you can. But he needs to be very strict and authoritative, making his personal feelings towards her behavior very clear. If that's how it already is and nothing helps, well, you did your best.